Christine stops Casey and tells him that she doesn't want to leave him. She agrees to come with Casey. Casey then shows her the $2 million. Christine asks him how he got this money. Casey tells her that once they reach France, he will tell her about everything. And after that, they both leave in their car. And the movie ends.
She saw 2 million and said, "Screw my job." She saw 2 million and said, "Screw my job. I'm out. I'm leaving my husband. We going to France."
Whoa, grinding till I get a mill. All I want is dollar bills. Stacking higher than some hills. Messing with my cake, probably get you killed.
What is going on, y'all? It's Micah. I'm back here with yet another video. In today's video, we're gonna be reacting to she forces him to sleep with her when his wife is away. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. We about to get into this one. It's about 2 minutes long. Won't waste no time. Some juicy drama. Nice little entanglement here. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Join the Stewart family, please. We're on the road to 3K. Comment down below if you did subscribe so I can welcome you into the family. Get your snacks, your popcorn, your drinks. And let's watch this tea. No cat. Let go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we will be reviewing a movie called Thursday. It's a movie that takes place in one single day in the life of our main character, Casey. Okay. Casey is a married man with a beautiful wife in Christine. Okay. They met 5 years back, and Casey back then was a very confident man who had strongly attracted Christine. They got into a relationship pretty fast and were really happy. But now, the relationship between them wasn't strong. They don't have that same love towards them. Or could we say that the spark between them was lost? One night, Casey gets a call from his friend who he hadn't been in contact with for the past 5 years. His friend's name is Nick, and he had called Casey to let him know that he was coming to his house to stay for a few days. Casey doesn't feel comfortable having him in his house, but he cannot say anything as Nick says that he is getting married. So the next day, Casey tells Christine about Nick coming to their house. Christine obviously gets confused as she had never heard Casey talk about his friend before. She questions why he never talked about Nick before, if he really was a good friend of his. Casey answers that before he met Christine, he was mixed with some bad people and was doing bad things himself. So, he never told Christine about Nick as he was his friend from that time of his life. Hearing this, Christine doesn't say anything as she is getting late for work. She tells Casey that she will be late as she has a dinner planned with her boss that night. Before leaving, Christine reminds Casey that Dr. Jarvis will be arriving today to interview him, to see if he is fit to adopt a baby, so it was very important for Casey to pass this interview. Now, Casey is all by himself in the house. And a few hours later, his friend Nick arrives at his house. Meeting after such a long time, they both embrace each other and look really happy. Nick asks Casey what he has been doing. Casey replies that he is an architect now. Hearing his answer, Nick gets surprised. He tells Casey that he looks boring compared to how he used to be. Casey answers that times have changed since he left his past job. He asks Nick about his wife. Nick tells him that she is just a girl, nothing special. Casey gets a bit confused to hear that. He thinks, why is Nick getting married to a girl who he thinks of as just some girl? After a while, Nick tells Casey that he has to go somewhere for a work-related business and wants to borrow his car. Nick tells him that his car had a flat tire, so he needs Casey's car to drive. So, Casey hands Nick his car key, and Nick heads out. Casey goes back to work but he can't focus. He feels sleepy. So, he gets out of his room and sees a briefcase in the guest room. That briefcase belongs to Nick. Casey is curious to know what is inside that briefcase. He contemplates opening and seeing it for himself to find out. But he reminds himself that is not a good thing to do. So, he decides not to open the briefcase. However, he quickly grabs a tool and opens the briefcase. He calls Nick immediately and shouts at him. The briefcase contains drugs inside it. Casey is angry at Nick for bringing drugs into his house, and possibly putting him in danger as well. Casey wants Nick to pick up his stuff and leave his house immediately. But Nick replies that he cannot do so as he has important things to deal with. So, Casey warns Nick that if he doesn't take his briefcase with him, he will call the cops and hand it over to them. But Nick isn't afraid at all. Instead, he tells Casey that if he calls the cops, he will tell them about his past as well. After that, Nick hangs up the phone. Casey is absolutely mad. He takes the drugs to his kitchen. He cuts them one by one and drains it down the pipe. Then, he hears a doorbell and sees a pizza delivery guy. Casey answers the door and tells him that he didn't order a pizza. The pizza guy then asks if he can use the phone. Casey says okay, but when the pizza guy enters the house, he punches Casey and pulls out a gun on him. He asks Casey where the briefcase is. Casey answers that he has already gotten rid of all the drugs. Then, he calls his boss and tells him about the drugs. After hanging up the phone, he tells Casey that regardless of whether he got the briefcase or not, he was ordered to kill him. Casey, then as a last wish, asks him if he can smoke. So, the man lets Casey smoke, and also tells him about himself. He tells Casey that he aspires to be a singer, and he was just involved in the killing business to earn some money, before he could record an album. Time passes by, and he and Casey have smoked a lot of weed. He gets up and tells Casey that it's time for him to die. And just when he was about to pull the trigger, he gets a phone call from his friend. His friend tells him that he has to sing a song right now, if he wants to get a record deal. He doesn't want to do it. He agrees. He tells Casey to put on a cassette, and then he starts singing away. Casey is just confused to see what is happening. The hitman then slowly starts to get in his zone. He gets completely lost in his singing. And then, Casey sees his chance and then attacks the hitman, and knocks him out cold. He ties the hitman with duct tape and keeps him in his garage. Casey tells him that normally, he would just kill him. But, he is a changed man now. So, he will not kill him, he's just confused about what to do with him. Then,
That's a Chromebook with built-in virus protection, so you can click with confidence. With no more of this, and a lot more peace of mind.
Nah, you know what I mean? You're not about to be having all this stuff. I done changed my life around. You want to bring all this crap in my house?
Casey kill him. He's just confused about what to do with him. Then, the doorbell rings again. Casey goes to check and finds that it is Dr. Jarvis. He is here for the interview. Seeing him, Casey hurries and cleans the dining table which has weed, and then sprays the room to clear out the air. He opens the door, and the interview begins to check if Casey is fit to adopt a baby. Casey is obviously nervous to have him at his house. Dr. Jarvis questions him about a few things. Casey nervously answers his questions, but then he hears loud banging from the garage. Fearing Dr. Jarvis might find out about the hitman, he says that he will be right back and heads to the garage. Then, Casey sees the hitman hitting on the garage door. Casey has no option but to hang him upside down. After returning back to the interview, he has another guest in his house. And this time, it's a pretty lady named Dallas. She tells Casey that she is a friend of Nick. Casey tells her that Nick isn't home and asks her to leave. But Dallas barges in anyway. Thinking that Dallas is a friend of Casey, Dr. Jarvis welcomes her and wants to ask her a few questions about Casey. Casey goes to call Nick and tells him about his friend. Meanwhile, Dr. Jarvis asks Dallas about the past life of Casey. Then Dallas reveals that Casey used to be a drug dealer with Nick. He was a ruthless drug dealer who wasn't afraid of anyone. He would kill anyone he liked, without a blink of an eye. After hearing the true story of Casey's past, Dr. Jarvis wants to leave from there. He obviously isn't going to evaluate Casey as fit for adopting a baby. Casey tries to stop him as he is the last hope for him and his wife to finally have a baby. But Dr. Jarvis doesn't listen to him and leaves. After he leaves, it's Dallas's turn to pull the gun on Casey. She ties him up to a chair and asks him about the $2 million that Nick brought with him. Casey had only seen the drugs. He doesn't know anything about the money. So, he answers that he knows nothing about any money. Dallas gets on top of Casey and tells him that he has gone soft after he quit. Casey tells her that anyone would have quit if they had done the same thing as him. It is then revealed that the real reason behind Casey leaving the life of a drug dealer was because he had killed a woman who was pregnant. The guilt of it was so unbearable for him that he decided to quit and then pursued architecture. Dallas mocks him for his come. Until then, she plans to have sex with Casey. But he refuses and tells her that he is a married man. Hearing this, Dallas gets even more excited. She opens her clothes and then forces herself on Casey. At this point, Dallas is clearly sexually assaulting Casey. But it doesn't last long, as she gets shot from behind. And the man that shot her identifies himself as Billy. Much like Dallas, he too is a friend of Nick and is here for the money. He tells Casey that Nick had stolen $2 million from a cop and had it hidden somewhere. Billy thinks that Casey knows where the money is hidden. So, he plans to torture Casey in telling him about the location of the money. But just then, they hear a police siren. Billy puts his torture tools down and then goes to check. At the same moment, Casey manages to get himself free. He cuts the duct tape that was tying him, and then grabs a pan from the kitchen. He sits exactly like before to avert any suspicion. Billy comes back and tells Casey that the police had come to the neighbors. He picks the torture tools and then notices the duct tape on the table. He knows Casey has freed himself. Their eyes meet, and before Billy could do anything, Casey smacks him with the frying pan. Casey hits him a few more times and then pulls the gun on him. Casey almost kills him, but remembers that he is not the same person anymore. So he takes him to the garage and ties him upside down. Just
Hold on, y'all. My bad, y'all. Got a call. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're gonna get right back to it. Let's go.
like the hitman from before. Now, with how his day has gone so far, Casey is mad. He gets a call from Nick who says that he will be leaving the city. Casey tells him to come and clean the mess that he has created. But Nick answers that he is in no situation to come to his house. Nick tells him that he is going to leave the city. The people he stole the drugs from were after him. So, he has to leave the city to save his life. Then, Nick also tells him that the cop he stole the money from will come after Casey. Then we see that Nick has been shot. Hearing his voice, Casey realizes it as well. Nick apologizes to Casey and tells him to go to France to save his life. Then, the two friends say their goodbye and hang up. Casey now cleans the blood from his house and changes into new clothes. The cop that Nick told him about also arrives at Casey's house. The cop, like all the others that Casey had met that day, asks him about the money. Casey tells him the same answer. He doesn't know where Nick has hid the money. The cop tells Casey that he believes him, but he also knows about everything that has gone on in his house that day. He tells Casey that if he manages to bring the money by 7 p.m., he will let everything go. Basically, he was blackmailing Casey about the dead body and 2 of the captives in his garage. The cop asks where the dead body is. Casey takes him to the garage and after kills them both. He tells Casey that he has until 7 p.m. to bring him his money. Casey then gets rid of the dead body by cutting it and throwing it in the garbage bag. While returning back to his house, he sees that Nick's car is still there. He looks at the tire and thinks about the flat tire that Nick had told him about. Nick cuts the tire open, and there he finds the 2 million that everyone was after today. He smiles after looking at the money. And then, he also finds a gift box left by Nick. He opens it to find 2 watches. These were gifts from Nick to Casey and his wife for their wedding day. Nick and Casey were really good friends. Nick knew that Casey would find the money. After this, Casey takes the phone from the hitman, or the pizza guy. He calls the drug dealer from whom Nick had stolen the drugs from. Casey tells them that if they want their drugs, they have to meet him at his house at exactly 7 p.m. It's finally 7 p.m. The cops get to Casey's house but don't find him there. At the same time, the drug dealers arrive as well. With guns in their hands, they enter Casey's house, only to find the cops. You can guess what happened afterwards. Now, we see that Casey goes to meet his wife. Christine is surprised to see Casey there. She asks him why he was there. Casey answers that he is leaving for France, and he wants her to come with him. Christine understands that Casey has got himself in trouble. Christine doesn't know what to do. She has a career here, but she also loves Casey. Thinking that Christine will not come with him, Casey plans to leave by himself. But Christine stops Casey and tells him that she doesn't want to leave him. She agrees to come with Casey. Casey then shows her the $2 million. Christine asks him how he got this money. Casey tells her that once they reach France, he will tell her about everything. And after that, they both leave in their car. And the movie ends.
She saw 2 million and said, screw my job. She saw 2 million and said, screw my job. I'm out. I'm leaving my husband. We're going to France. That is crazy, man. That is crazy, man. Y'all enjoyed this video, man. Hit the like button, man. Subscribe if you're new. Comment down below and hit the bell. Follow all my social media down below, too. Follow all the social media down below so you can connect with me outside of YouTube. And I'll see you in the next video. No cap.
I stay on my job. Your boy be working too hard. I got dreams of living large, buying houses and expensive cars.